In hindsight, what's the cringiest thing you've ever done? For about a month my freshman year of high school, I wore mirrored glasses and turtlenecks and told people I was a vampire. This hurts me and I don't know why. When I was 13 I made a fake MSN account pretending to be one of those conversation bots. I added my crush and pretended to predict his future, which of course heavily hinted at eventually marrying me. Oh, I mean you were 13, don't feel so bad about that. That's a typo, it was supposed to be 31. There was this one girl that I had a crush on in the last year of middle school, but I never really talked to her. On the last day of school I decided to tell her, so I beckoned to her, whispered in her ear that I liked her and ran away. Just tonight I said it's been nice knowing you, and she responded with "You're not going to kill me, are you?" while strangling her. Yeah, you like that, you fucking retard? Roommate caught me masturbating to Facebook photos of his sister. With my dick still out, I responded with, "What? She's hot." I should have added, "Can I finish?" I think that's the most unsalvageable situation I've ever heard. When I was much younger I would hump the fireman pole on the playground during recess. I didn't know what I was doing, but it felt good. However, I was often the last person off the playground doing this, and so many times everyone would wait and watch, because nobody could go in until I was done and joined the class. Edit, kinda glad I'm not the only one that did this. No kids. Let him finish. When I was like 10, I'd gather all my family and friends, get on my hands and knees and show them the cool piggyback trick. Their border collie would perform on me. This carried on for about a year and no one told me I was being aggressively humped. I'd wondered why they were so awkward about it. 0. When I was 15 I made a video of me raving in the dark with glow sticks to the song Sandstorm. I have no idea why I did that or posted it to YouTube. This was before I started using drugs, lol. I informed an attractive girl that a large amount of her Instagram photos were geotagged with the same location. The location being her house. Doesn't help that she once had a crush on me and I screwed up my chance to date her in high school. I was genuinely concerned about her internet privacy, though I just ended up looking like a creep. It would have been less creepy if you didn't climb through her window to tell her. When I was younger, around 5 to 6 I think, my family and I went to visit a friend. He had a daughter and a son and I was quite close friends with the girl. We went up to play in her bedroom and for some reason, and I can't for the life of me remember why I thought it would be a good idea, decided to whip out my 1-inch wand and proceed to wipe it on the walls of her bedroom whilst laughing. She excused herself whilst I was doing so, and about a minute later I hear my parents shouting from downstairs. That was the most awkward car ride home ever and I still cringe every time I think of it. I was speaking to my cousin at a family get-together when he asked me where my father was. Trying to be funny and annoying and replied with, "Where's your dad?" His father's funeral was 2 weeks prior. Big crush on a girl when I was in grade 12. She was so chill, easy to talk to, for a guy who was pretty socially awkward back in the day, and I'm sure looking back she was into me because she wrote her number into my yearbook. Well, until that summer when I confessed to her I was a virgin, with zero prompting, and asked if she wanted to be my first. She didn't talk much to me after that. 7 years and 3 relationships later and I still can't help but wonder what if. That's more of a combo of creep and cringe. Had a presentation in college. I dressed fairly nice for it and had a white handkerchief in my back pocket. Got a little sweaty so I pulled the handkerchief out of my back pocket. It was a pair of white underwear. Again in college. My class won a trip to a PR event so my teacher got tacos for the entire class. It was a lecture hall so the room had steps that went all the way down to the whiteboard. Taco boy showed up. He's walking down the steps while I realize my backpack was in his way. In the process of pulling it out of the way I hooked Taco boy's foot, tripping him, sending tacos all over the classroom. Freshman/early sophomore year of high school, I chased after this girl and complained all the time that she was friend-zoning me. I probably posted 30 statuses on Facebook in that time about how nice guys never get the girl and the friend zone sucked. I am beyond embarrassed to admit this next part, but I actually made a Facebook page called Friend Zone Club where I posted dank friend zone memes. I completely forgot about it for a long time until a few weeks ago I was on my profile and noticed I was still the admin of that page, so I deleted it and cringed at myself harder than ever before. At least you didn't publish 2 web pages, on Homestead and GeoCities respectively, dedicated to outlining, in a bulleted list, every time you were sexually aroused by the character Fox Mulder from the show, The X-Files. And then share it with a friend, who claimed to also like The X-Files, and then who painstakingly wrote the URL down in their Trapper Keeper to show everyone at school. 7th grade is fun. I once asked a girl, who I haven't seen in months, when are you due? She wasn't pregnant. I swear I really thought she was. Oops. I once asked a girl, do you know what you're having? At her baby shower. Where she was holding pink balloons. Standing in front of a pink cake. On pink table. Next to pink cookies. Below the "It's a girl" sign. She had a really confused look and said, a girl. I meant to ask if they had picked a name yet. Staircase wit, ask yes, but what species? Looking back on all the times I've blacked out and ruined friendships, jobs, everything, I don't think I'm brave enough to think about it right now. Actually, something comes to mind. 3rd time I was admitted to the ER for alcohol poisoning and the doctor takes a good long hard look at me and says, you again? And something about how he doesn't want to see me arriving dead next time. That stays with me. Edit, thank you everyone, but no, I'm not clean right now. Chronic relapser. I appreciate the concern, maybe you should avoid alcohol. Backstory, people are always telling me I'm too nice and I need to assert myself. Well, one day, I drive up to the local CVS pharmacy and ask for a refill on my prescription for birth control. I ask how long it'll take to fill it, and then I wait in my car in the parking lot. I decide to walk into the store because the car line looks long. I get to the counter and the woman asks for my name and date of birth, like the clerks always do. I don't know why I thought this was being assertive, but I say, I just spoke to you at the drive-up window. The woman replies, I don't talk to people at the drive-up window. My colleague over there. And she points to another African American woman with a similar haircut, handles the drive-up orders. I think I turned a new shade of red. And of course, after that incident, I could never get my monthly prescription there again. TL, doctor, I confused being assertive with being bitchy, and ultimately came off as a racist. My friend told me he and his GF broke up as an April Fool's joke. My reply, I'm sorry. To be honest, I couldn't see you guys lasting that long anyway. I cringed to myself every fucking day because of this. Fuck April Fool's Day, and fuck friends that lie to their friends under the guise of a stupid ass holiday. You did nothing wrong. Anybody would have said something like that in that situation. Well, this isn't the cringiest I can think of, but it comes to mind. 9th grade in Arizona, school newspaper reporter asked me, what do you like best about high school? I thought he said our high school. When it was printed in the school newspaper, it looked like this, with our photo by each quote. Student A, I like that high school gives me the chance to meet new friends. Student B, high school gives me the opportunity to prepare for my career in architecture. Me, I like our big library. I got taunted with that line for about a week. I like our big library. Not really that bad, you sort of answered the question anyways. Also, libraries are the shit. Oh god. This is the first and last time I will ever admit this. When I was 15 I was a super weeaboo, and late at night I'd watch anime and act out the scenes while they played and pretended to be the character of my choice. Edit, let me clarify a bit more. I'd watch the anime and since I was stuck in a small area, if the character was running I'd be running in place and acting out every physical action. I wasn't just imagining myself as the characters mentally lol. I once renamed the Pokemon in my party to Will You Go Out With Me and handed my Ds to my would-be GF. She came out as being gay right there. What? Your girlfriend is evolving. Congratulations, your girlfriend has evolved into a lesbian. I walked into the break room at work once, and an attractive female co-worker was in there. We all work at desks all day, so I tried to say something about stretching your legs, but instead out came came back here to spread your legs, eh? 6th grade. Sometimes I would confuse something clear with the color white. Not the colors themselves, just the names of the colors. In health class we were discussing hydration and what the color of your urine meant. I raised my hand and asked, what's it mean when you pee white? I didn't understand the looks I got, especially from the teacher. I remembered the awkwardness and eventually put it all together. It is not a pleasant memory now. Once, I had been locked out of my room for 6 hours my junior year of college. I went to the basement to nap on a couch. Some club had a meeting and there was a lot of leftover pizza. Problem is that they threw it in the recycle bin. In the box still. I think I paced around for about 15 minutes before I finally went in for it, got the box out and had I think 2 cold, stiff slices. If character is who you are when nobody is watching, I'm a dumpster diving masturbator. No disrespect to anybody who's had to dumpster dive. I was just a fat kid who hadn't eaten for 6 hours and was locked away from my fridge and cracked easily. I guess I don't have much for cringy. I actually said no pain, no gain while running the mile in 1st grade. The gym teacher rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might pop out of her head. I don't know why that is my go-to embarrassment story, but I always cringe so hard when I think about it. If that's the cringiest thing that you've done, then you're leading a decent life. Edit, fixed a spelling error. In elementary school I pretended to speak another language. Everyone else was bilingual pretty much, so I'd just make up bullshit words and I would keep a list of words I had made up definitions for so I could keep it straight. Because I was in detention copying the dictionary a lot, I used the time to make up random words for each one. I'd study the list and memorize the words just to stay believable. I made up and learned a language because I thought it would make me fit in. With all the time spent doing that, I could have learned an actual language. In 7th grade I cyber-stalked my stepbrother's football junior coach. He was 17, I was 13 or 14. Found out his name and found him on MySpace. I was a chubby emo kid, so I made a fake MySpace profile with some random girl's photos to add him and talked to him. We talked for a few months and I pretty much enabled him to emotionally cheat on his girlfriend of 2 years. I kind of felt like shit, so I eventually came clean to him and told him everything and apologized. This is called catfishing. I saw it on MTV. Edit, but you told him so it makes you an ethical catfish. Made an iPhone 3G's unboxing video on YouTube while mimicking a fake British accent and just overall being a moron. Took me 5 hours to upload that 3 minutes of monstrosity, then showed it to my family on TV. Biggest confidence drop I ever received when they all laughed their fucking ass out, literally. And I made the video when iPhone 5 came out. Plus 10 cringe points. I split a marshmallow and stuck it to the back of a guy's neck because I was too afraid to approach him for our date. Yep, our date. I just couldn't think of what to say when I walked up. Not me but someone I know, let's call him Tom. 2nd grade for the talent show with his friend, Al, their show was going to be music starts and through a big sheet of paper they were supposed to jump through while starting to fight like ninjas. Tom was supposed to be dressed like the devil. Morning of, Tom's parents, who were conservative Christians, found out about the devil costume and immediately took it away. At the show ready to go on and the music won't play, so the teacher tells them to start. Tom and Al attempt to jump through the paper but can't. The teacher had to rip it so they could. Tom, whose morning was completely turned upside down and embarrassed in front of the school, starts wailing on Al. Al says, "Tom, I thought this was fake." Tom, looking down on his cowering friend, says it's real now and then continues to beat him in front of the school. Two things, both in music lessons with the same teacher. When I was 9, I pissed myself in her house because I was too scared to ask to use the toilet. When I was 14, she was writing something down for me, complete silence, and I just let out a super loud, long fart. I was too shocked to say anything and I was about to laugh it off and apologize, but just nothing came out, and by that point it was too late, and she didn't say anything either. That 20 seconds lasted a fucking year. I said I killed a man, and felt nothing during a new hire orientation. Trying to be funny. Still think about that moment sometimes before I go to bed. Why the fuck did I say that? Anything involving MySpace before 2007. I once convinced a girl my uncle was in the mafia in a poorly guided attempt to gain her attention. When that didn't work, I turned to marching band and catchphrases in a not so misguided, but still cringy way to bang band chicks. Also happened to once sleep with a girl, several times, because she was over 18 and I was 17 and learning the joys of nicotine addiction. So in exchange for a pack of cigarettes, I got to hump this girl that was easily twice my size, and who was hands down the worst sex I have ever had in my life to date. Sniffed my older brother's hot friend's flip-flop sandals when I was in high school. They didn't smell like anything. I didn't know whether to be disappointed or relieved. I had a slight foot fetish at that time, but looking back on it, there's no excuse for that cringiness. Would it help to know that in Australia you could at least say you were sniffing their thong? I took a summer course to England with the theatre department at my college. For 2 weeks we travelled around to London, Oxford, Cambridge, and York, watching plays and staying in hostels. Of course, there was a girl I liked on the trip, and I was intent on letting her know somehow. This was despite exactly zero interest from her. When we were in York, she saw one of those old-timey keys in a locksmith shop and mentioned she would love to get one from a, yet non-existent, boyfriend as the key to her heart. But the shop was closed and we were returning to London first thing in the morning. So I woke up early, ran into town on foot, and knocked on the door until the shopkeeper opened it. He agreed to sell me the key, and I presented it to her that morning. She accepted it with the same enthusiasm as a syringe full of HIV. It was the most awkward moment in my life. Got really, really drunk and thought it was a good idea to tag a local popular girl I followed in Instagram saying I wish X was here. I have a vague memory about seeing something like "what the fuck" in the comments. Pretty quick way to get blocked. Don't know how many people I know saw it before I woke up and deleted the post, and I can't recall any more comments on it since I was still drunk when I woke up, just sober enough to realize that it was fucking stupid. My salutatory speech in high school consisted of songs from a popular K-pop group. I didn't do this, but my cousin did. When we were like 11ish, we were at a big public event that we really did not want to attend. I had kind of a mean uncle who was a Vietnam vet and just didn't take well to kids. My cousin overheard one of the adults say that uncle had accidentally shot some of our troops and killed some of them. Friendly fire, an awful reality of war. Well, my cousin, after getting into it with my uncle, decided to run around screaming you couldn't even kill any bad guys. All you did was kill your teammates, that's how bad you are at shooting. He can only kill Americans. I think he believed that he was making fun of my uncle's accuracy. When I think back to how badly hearing that screamed must have been, at a very public event no less. Dozens of people looking at him with confusion, disgust possibly, I don't even know. Just having been there makes me shudder. TL, Doctor, my cousin publicly shamed my Vietnam vet uncle for friendly fire killings. At work there's an unofficial list of life events that necessitate bringing in donuts or treats for your co-workers. Events range from birthdays and birth of a child to weirder ones like getting a divorce. I jokingly sent an email to some colleagues saying the list is getting crazier and what's next on this list, needing to bring in donuts for death of a child? Sure enough, I get a response saying one of the recipients had indeed lost a child and I was a crappy person. Never did see the donuts for it though. These all happened while I was working in the same bar. I told a kid in a wheelchair to stand up and get his own damn condiments. I didn't see the wheelchair, I just thought he was really good at tucking his chair under the table. A girl I knew from school came in with her newborn baby. I went over to be polite and act interested and thought the best thing to do would be to put my hand on top of the baby's head. Didn't realize she was breastfeeding. Left my hand there for an excruciating 1 minute of conversation before my brain stopped screaming at me to chop the hand off and run. An elderly couple used to come in all the time and were brilliant jokers. Gentleman comes up to the bar alone, so I inquire as to the whereabouts of his wife. Me, no wife today, good sir? Good sir, I lost her this morning. Me, oh ha ha. Where is she hiding? Good sir, in heaven, cue tears and sobbing. In around year 4 I went with my primary school to a spelling bee competition sort of thing. I think there were 4 other schools there, in groups of 3. While we were all getting up on stage, the commentator, presenter, asked us if we could all hear him from off stage, and we all nodded in unison. After the 200+ parents cheered as the presenter came onto stage, he asked us if we had any questions. Me being a douchey smartass, I put my hand up and said I couldn't hear him, trying to be funny in reference to his previous question. The smile was whacked off my face when I looked into the silent crowd and saw my parents shaking their heads and the other adults looking on cringing. Might I say, this was hosted at a pretty prestigious university, and the 3 schools we were matched up with were all private. Yeah. It's not the worst thing, but I can feel my face burning every time I remember that one. Edit, words. A girl stood me up for a date. The next day I saw her in the cafeteria and didn't want to seem like I cared or that it bothered me. It did, but I wanted to just play it cool. So all I did was smile and give a little wave as I walked into a wall in front of her and all her friends. Sent a dick pic. My worst story ever needs a little language explanation. In Polish, the word for condoms is very similar to the word for prospects, as in life prospects. It's basically preservatives for condoms and perspectives for prospects. I was probably around 10 and my mom invited some people over and we were all having dinner. One of the guests, a female, asks me how is school. I replied, oh, nothing but great condoms. I quickly left to hide in my room. I went to the lake with my friends a few years ago but really needed a shit and was forced to hold it. This cute girl who I had a crush on sat on my lap and was talking to me, but I couldn't focus because I needed a shit really badly. We then went to my friend's house where I violently, and loudly, destroyed it while they were all in the next room. I'm pretty sure they heard my asshole erupting. When I was in like 1st or 2nd grade I had real bad diarrhea, but my teacher was a total bitch about using the restroom. She had a rule that if you went to the bathroom during class, you couldn't go to recess. Well, long story short, I shat myself, and instead of telling anyone, I sat in it, and proceeded to go to recess. Then the diarrhea, which was a weird tan color lol, dripped down my leg and smelt just awful. The aide then took me to the nurse and I told em I fell in stinky mud. Although that no bathroom rule did get dropped, I never lived it down. Edit, was calling recess PE because I'm stupid. Oh man, do I got this. Day before girl's birthday I buy 25 balloons, because she turned 25, duh. Girl lived a few blocks away from her work and had work on her birthday. At 5:30 am of her birthday, I take the balloons to her part of the city and line her path to work with the balloons. Every half block, 2 to 3 balloons were taped to a light pole / stop sign / what have you. Later in the day, she sends a text about how no one had ever cared about her that much to do such a thing. 5 months later, she says don't contact me again. Winning. There's definitely some steps missing here. Not cringiest because I do it all the time, but very bad timing. I practice the jujitsu and I live with my nana, so I practice with her, but she don't like it. One time I go for leg takedown outside and I try to pass guard when girl I like walk by and see me wrestling old woman. I was embarrassed, but I know that next time she see me, I will be wrestling the bear. Ask a girl out about 45 times, turn down every time, then trying to basically debate her into dating me. Liked what you saw? Hit like, subscribe and the bell icon for more crazy Reddit content.